This Focus on Health segment is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare.
Hello, I'm Jill Wunrow and welcome to another Focus on Health segment. Here at the Vince Lombardi Cancer Clinic inside Aurora Medical Center in Oshkosh, groundbreaking cancer clinical trials are taking place. Trials that one day may help find a cure for those suffering from cancer. And also helping those battle with cancer is a social worker dedicated to helping patients deal with and heal from the wounds cancer can cause. Joining me now are Jessica Bosovic, a social worker specially trained to deal with patients who are going through cancer, and Barb Esselman. She is in charge of the clinical cancer trials here at the Vince Lombardi Cancer Clinic. And Barb, let's just start with you. What is a clinical trial exactly?
A clinical trial is a research study where a question has been raised and they start to evaluate different types of treatments involved with maybe cardiac disease, medications for blood pressure problems. In my particular instance, I deal with trials that are involved with cancer treatments.
And who can go onto a trial?
Well, in our particular case, a person has to have a diagnosis of cancer. We do look for, there's strict eligibility guidelines to get onto a clinical trial. The person has to have a particular type of cancer, a certain type of stage, and then you look for other comorbidities or issues that would eliminate them from the trial, like if they've had stroke problems or if they have some cardiovascular disease, kidney problems, or something like that. So there's usually strict guidelines to get onto a clinical trial.
You mentioned there are specific kinds of cancer that you have to have going into the trial. Can you just name a few? I know there are a lot of them out there, but just so people kind of have an idea.
Well, we seem to have a strong interest in breast cancer trials. I have a trial for women that are diagnosed with what they call DCIS, which is ductal cancer in situ, which is very, very early stage cancer. We have studies where we look at the invasive, if it's already spread out of the ductal area into just past the duct linings. That it's just there. We look for certain hormone response type tumors too. If it's ER/PR positive, that's estrogen or progesterone. We look for this antigen HER2. If that is also involved, then they require a certain type of treatment for that. The trials that we have will be current standard of treatment that is currently used, but we will either mix up how the drugs are given, we will add a drug, something new that somebody's seen that works for maybe a different cancer. Let's see if it works for breast cancer. And then we also maybe will give one of the investigational drug that they're looking at. We may extend it out longer and see if it keeps the person disease-free.
Barb, it sounds like there's a lot going on with these clinical trials. And what are the financial costs, if any, in being part of a clinical trial?
The financial costs that potentially can be involved with a clinical trial are the usual charges involved with you receiving standard treatment, because that will be billed to your insurance company. The investigational drug that is being added to the regimen of your treatment, in most cases, is supplied free of charge. So therefore, that would not be charged to your insurance companies. We do still always prior authorize your cancer treatments to make sure that it's going to be covered by your insurance, and you're going to have the normal costs involved with your typical policy.
And last question for you. I'm sure there are people out there watching that are interested in being a part of a clinical trial, and how would they go about contacting you guys here, and how do they become part of a clinical trial?
Well, to get more information regarding clinical trials in general, feel free to contact me here at the Vince Lombardi at 456-7880. I'll be glad to tell you about them, tell you how you can get involved with it. The unfortunate thing is you most likely have to have a cancer diagnosis, a newly one, and you would have to, start care here at Aurora and with our oncology system.
Thanks a lot, Barb. And now we move over to Jessica. Thank you so much for coming in as well. And tell me first, why was a social worker from the visiting nurses brought in to work with cancer patients at the VLCC and radiation oncology?
Well, we know that as patients are going through cancer treatments, whether it be radiation, chemotherapy, or both, there's a lot of issues that could come up as they're going through treatments. A lot of times patients suffer from side effects that they may need extra help at home to get through treatments. So that's why they brought me in, because I work with the visiting nurses, so I have a knowledge of their hospice and palliative care programs that could definitely benefit some of our patients as they go through treatment. I meet all of our newly diagnosed patients early on through treatment, so I can help identify if there's any needs for any resources, whether it be home care, VNA services, or any other needs as they're going through treatment.
I know you just kind of answered it a little bit, but tell me a little bit about, like, more specifically, what kind of assistance you provide these patients that come in.
As patients come in, like I said, I meet with them early on in treatment. Some patients have little or no needs. Some patients just need general support, and then other patients need quite a bit more, whether it be a lot of financial assistance. You know, people aren't able to work as they're going through treatments, and they need extra resources and supports to get them through. Other patients travel quite a distance to get here, so we need help with finances or finding them transportation. And there's a lot of insurance issues, connecting them to support groups, filling out forms for leave of absence from work, short-term and long-term disability, and then just filling out their advance directives or their power of attorney for healthcare documents.
You mentioned support groups, and talk to me a little bit about, do you guys actually offer support groups for families and patients that are going through cancer?
Yes, right now we have 2 different support groups that we offer. The first is, it's called the Look Good, Feel Better support group, which is just designed for women who are going through treatment and are suffering appearance-related side effects from going through chemotherapy or radiation treatments. It's a program that's sponsored through the American Cancer Society, and they have volunteer cosmetologists that come in, and it's just a nice evening of pampering and showing them how to apply makeup, and it's just a really nice night just for them, so they can look good and feel better. The other group that we offer is called the I Can Cope support group, which is more of an informational support group where we bring in professionals that deal in cancer care, and they present different information that could educate them as they're going through treatment. We offer that throughout the year, and we have a session coming up on the exercise for cancer patients as they're going through treatment that is sponsored through the YMCA here in town. So we have different groups like that that are really quite wonderful for patients to learn from.
Great. There's a lot of stuff out there. Thank you both, Jessica and Barb, for sharing the information that's very useful for us here at the Vince Lombardi Cancer Clinic. If you want more information about the clinical cancer trials or would like to know more about the social work programs that Jessica provides here with cancer patients, please call the Vince Lombardi Cancer Clinic at 920-303-8700, extension 7870, or you can visit us online at aurorahealthcare.org. I'm Jill Wunrow. Thanks for joining us for another Focus on Health segment. Make it a great day.
This Focus on Health segment has been brought to you by Aurora Healthcare.